What's going on, everybody? BASSFZz here, and in today's video I'm going to be responding to a user by the name of Ruckus Like. And so what she is a, I can't say she's a woman. I don't know how old she is, but she's an Australian female who made a video about yes, all women and male entitlement, and I'm going to be responding to the asinine points that she made about it. So without further ado, let's get this going.
So I didn't necessarily want to make this video because I didn't want to deal with the backlash, which ironically is part of the problem.
Wait a minute, so is criticism part of the problem? Because if it is, well that's horrible. I don't think she means criticism. I think she means like the insults or the disbelief. At least I think that's what she means. I hope, because if it's criticism and people are asking you questions, then I don't see how that's part of the problem. That's just people trying to educate themselves.
Basically, if you've been living under a rock recently, in LA, this guy, Elliot Shitstain, whatever his last name.
Okay. I'm going to skip pretty much the intro because all she's doing is regurgitating what every other woman in feminist has said. So let's just skip it.
Clearly not mentally stable, but that's not an excuse and that's not the problem here.
That is absolutely the problem. I hate when these women try to blow off the fact that this guy was mentally ill as not the issue here, because it definitely is part of the issue here. He had Asperger's syndrome. I recently found out by one of my commenters, and he was depressed. That was definitely a factor in why he did what he did.
The problem here is male entitlement and misogyny and sexism and just the general belief that men have a right to women's bodies. Which is not true. It's a privilege, not a right. Alongside this is the issue that a large portion of the response to this whole event has been, well, there you go, women, if you deny people sex, they'll kill you.
Real, okay, listen, I think one important thing to note here is that the correct term you might want to put Elliot Rogers is misanthrope, not necessarily a misogynist. Now, a lot of women are trying to make this seem like Elliot Rogers was a normal guy and this is just how a lot of normal men operate, which is ridiculous, because I have never wanted to kill any woman that has rejected me. Never. And I've been rejected like 54 times, so.
I shouldn't even have to go into everything that's wrong with that statement, but my friend whose YouTube is Old Hot Radio, Ophelia Dagger, made a video about this. Her video will be linked somewhere, but basically what she said in one part of her video was that if you think a man's right to sex is more important than a person's right to their own body, then bend over and let them fuck you.
That's what I mean by regurgitation. I already said this. We have to have sex in order to continue to survive. That simple.
Which is spot on, and I swear to fucking God, if I get one comment saying, well, not all men do this, look, we know. We fucking know. And even if we didn't know beforehand, we get told so many times every time this discussion comes up that if we didn't know before, we fucking know now. But in fact, if your immediate response to a person killing a bunch of people because they wouldn't fuck him is not all men do this, then you're part of the problem.
So let me get this one straight. So by saying that not all men are crazy lunatics that sound like supervillains that want to go kill people, I am somehow a part of the problem too? So somehow I have an effect on other people going around killing people. That is ridiculous. I think there might be a word for this logical fallacy, but I don't know it right now, but that is a us versus them kind of thing. And there might be a word for it. If there is the word, please correct me. But it's like this us versus them kind of fallacy where you're just saying, okay, well, since you don't feel the way I feel, obviously you are also a part of the problem. You are an issue. That's ridiculous. Okay?
Because in saying not all men are like this, instead of being concerned with the actual problem, you're prioritizing the fact that someone insulted your gender over the fact that 6 people got murdered.
No. Ironically, when we say not all men, we are prioritizing the actual problem. The actual problem was that he was mentally ill. You're the one that's misrepresenting what's going on, okay? Alright, when we say not all men, that means you have to treat the problem in its context. You cannot fix all men because of the actions of 1 or 77 or even 1 or 100, okay? That's not going to fix all men, because all men don't have that problem to be fixed.
And that, funnily enough, makes you just as bad as the men you're trying to separate yourself from.
Yeah, so I'm just as bad as any murderer because I'm not mentally insane and I don't have the urge to kill people. What I just said, how ridiculous that statement was, wasn't even as close to as ridiculous as what she just said in that last clip.
If you're a male saying not all men are like this, stop. Because one, we fucking know we're not stupid, and two, you're immediately distancing yourself from the blame to save face, and that's not helpful.
No, we're immediately distancing ourselves from the blame because that's not the problem.
What's helpful is talking about the actual problem.
Forget it, just forget it.
I saw an awesome quote the other day and it basically said, not all men are monsters, but imagine a bowl of M&Ms and 10% of them are poison. Now go and take a handful and eat them. The hashtag yes.
Wait, hold on. Is there like an indicator on these M&Ms? Because if there is, like if all the poisoned M&Ms have like a P on them, then I can separate those M&Ms and I can eat the M&Ms that aren't poisoned. But if all the M&Ms are the same, then I'm not going to partake of the M&M because I don't know. There's no indicator. And that's wholly the difference here. Because these men who do things like this, there are indicators that they are not normal. Elliot Rogers posted a string of videos where he laughed and jeered like a supervillain. That's not normal. So we can deal with that appropriately. Not by saying all men are like that.
All women has been blowing up recently and it's saying basically exactly that. No, not all men are monsters or rapists or abusive. But yes, all women have been the victim of sexism or misogyny. And look, shouldn't that be shocking in itself?
No.
Every single woman, not like 90%, all women are a victim of this.
Once again, the arrogance that this Australian woman has.
If you're a woman and you've ever felt unsafe walking alone or without a man, then you're affected.
No, that means you have xenophobia, an irrational fear of strangers. That's what that means. It doesn't mean you're affected by misogyny or what else was the other? I think you just said misogyny. You're not affected by misogyny if you're scared of the dark. Like, grown men are scared of the dark too. Are they misogynist against other men and women because they're afraid someone's going to attack them? No. That's a ridiculous statement to make.
If you've ever had to use the phrase, I've got a boyfriend, even when you don't, to get a guy to leave you alone, just because they'll respect another man's property more than they respect you, then you're affected, dude. It's all.
I hate that. That is another stupid phrase that you made. Okay, listen. If you say, I have a boyfriend to a man that's trying to have a relationship with you, what that means is his ultimate goal cannot be achieved. That means there's no more of any reason to talk to a woman because she has a boyfriend. If I'm trying to date a girl and she's like, I'm dating someone, and I respect their relationship, alright, leave it alone, right? That's all it is. It's not that she's not his property. She's a human being, and I respect their relationship. If she was an object, I could just steal her away, right? It's not this whole respect men have. Look, there are lots of guys who hate other guys because they treat them like garbage, okay? Men don't all have, men base each other on merit, on what we do and how we treat each other, not just because we have penises. That's ridiculous. There are lots of men in this world I despise, right? So, all based on things that they've done to me or things they've done to other people. I don't like them. That's the way it is.
Also important to know that this is not a one-off event, like this is not an isolated event.
Not an isolated event. Yeah, because lots of people get gunned down in the street or get stabbed by somebody that gets rejected a lot. That is definitely an isolated. That's not normal, people. Stop trying to make it sound like this is an inappropriate response, because it's not. Because by even having a conversation about it, we are acknowledging it's not normal.
But there's the underlying misogyny that's there every day. It's there so frequently, in fact, that people pass it off as normal. Spoiler alert, being afraid of 50% of the population is not normal.
You're right. That's called xenophobia. That's an issue that you are dealing with. You should not be afraid of 50% of the population. I'm not even sure how you walk outside the house every day if you're that scared. And once again, if you are that scared, I think that's an appropriate reason to learn some martial arts or learn how to fight.
He point blank, in a recorded video, explained that the reason he wanted to kill all these people is because he felt like he deserved sex.
Not just sex, love, and affection. You guys can't just pick and choose what you want to say. Because by just saying that, then I can make the argument that Elliot Rogers killed all these people because he wasn't getting love. Then I'm erasing the sex, I'm erasing the affection. We can't do that. We have to treat it in its entire context. We can't pick and choose what issues we want to chat about. We haven't talked about the whole problem, because that's how it's going to be fixed.
And wasn't getting it. He explained his motives, and people are still wondering why he did it.
People are still wondering why he did it because you're bold-faced lying to people. That's why.
Killing these people. Also, let's swap roles here for a sec. Imagine this guy was black. Or imagine this guy was wearing a turban in the video. I'm not going to say anything else, but just imagine how different this case would be if this wasn't an American white boy.
Please, say something else. I'd like to hear this one. Oh, I'd love to hear that. Freaking ridiculous. Even if it was a black guy, I'd be saying the same exact thing I'm saying about this Chinese white guy. Same exact thing. There's no difference between this black guy and some Chinese guy. Some Chinese white half guy. I don't care. What he did is what he did. His race has nothing to do with this.
That's sort of a side note, but the problem still isn't mental illness. The problem is male entitlement. And male entitlement, even on a less drastic level, like this is the, oh, you at least owe me a kiss, or the I spent X amount of money on her so she can't not fuck me. Or the fact that I, and pretty much every female I know, has never been out and not been felt up by some creepy guy just for walking. Or
that is ridiculous. Like, what? Wow. Get felt up a lot? How come you guys don't defend yourselves? I don't know.
The fact that even when we're wearing hoodies and jeans, all of this shit still happens, and on this channel we should know by now that what a person is wearing does not affect your ability not to rape them.
Well, to some degree it does, but that's another video for another time.
Helping of bullshit served on the side of all this other crap is the fucking friend zone, which is the most pathetic concept.
Now, if you guys watched my video on the friend zone, I mentioned that there was a video where a woman just blew off guys in the friend zone. This is that video. This is the video I'm talking about that infuriated me and made me want to make my video on the friend zone in the first place. This woman, ruckus like right here. Listen to the asinine stuff she has to say.
Have not been put in the friend zone. She just doesn't want to be in a relationship with you, or have sex with you, or do anything that isn't platonic.
She does want to use you for your money. She does want to use you as an emotional punching bag. And she does want you to give her all the perks of having a boyfriend without any of the responsibility. There are women like that in the world who are manipulative jerks. And we cannot blow them off as if they don't exist, because they do. There are women who purposely play with guys' emotions and purposely use their attraction or their affection to their own ends. So some guys really do get friend zoned. But I made an entire video about that, so go check that one out.
That's all it is. Let me make it very clear that you have not been put in the friend zone because you're too nice. And if you're saying that at all, you're not nice.
Wrong again. I've actually had conversations with a lot of women that said, I didn't like this guy because he was too nice. But I've had these conversations. They exist. They're real people. So, just wrong. Just wrong.
A person is not obliged to have sex with you just because you're nice to them. You don't get rewards for doing what you should have been doing to everyone anyway.
Yes, but it still hurts. It still hurts your feelings when someone you like doesn't reciprocate the way you feel. And you want to sit here and act like you wouldn't have your feelings hurt if you like the guy and he said he doesn't want to be with you? Bollocks.
Stop using the friend zone to make yourself feel better for being rejected by placing blame on the girl that rejected you.
Granted, there are a lot of men who like to blame the friend zone for their shortcomings. However, as I have discussed in my video on the friend zone, you know what? I'm just going to leave that for that video on the friend zone. Let's just keep going.
That's all it is. You got rejected. Everyone gets rejected. Deal with your rejection like a normal person. Eat some fucking ice cream and then just move on.
Now, this is what I'm saying here. There's no way that she herself is going to get rejected by some guy she really likes and is just going to eat some ice cream and be like, oh, well, you know, let's go. No one operates like that, okay? And you know what? How about this? Let me tell you guys a funny story. Real fast. When I first started talking to my ex-girlfriend, I didn't know her very well, right? So we were talking, we're trying to get to know each other better, right? So she asked me if I liked her. I'm like, yeah, I like you, right? She's like, so if I asked you out, what would you say? To that I replied, my pride would be hurt. She said, why? I said, because it's my job to ask you out when I'm ready. So she's like, well, why can't we date each other now? I said, because I don't know you very well. We have to get to know each other better. And that hurt her feelings, right? Not that I actually rejected her, just that I told her to wait, you know? Like, she got so upset She changed my name in her phone to He Who Must Not Be Named, like I'm Voldemort or something, right? Didn't even reject her feelings. Or, I'll raise you up one. Same girl, right? She tried to ask some other guy out, right? She says, hey, I like you. I want to date you. He replies, oh. Not no, not N-O, like O-H, just O. That hurt her feelings. She got rejected. That hurt her feelings so much, she texted me. She's like, oh man, my life sucks. I'm like, no it doesn't. Right? The point of those stories is to say that some women, when they get rejected, have their feelings hurt. The same as some men. Stop acting like it's just guys. You want equality? That's equality for you, feminist.
Experience it and you're not affected directly does not mean it's not a thing, dear. As for men facing sexism, when I ask them what kind of sexism they encounter, they almost immediately can only think of the fact that they're sort of half expected to pay for dinner on the first date, or the fact that if they buy a girl a drink, the girl can just walk away afterwards.
If you want some sexism, I can give you a couple examples. How about the fact that women are afraid of me because I have testicles? Right? Just because I'm a man. They're just scared. Afraid I'm going to do something to them. That's an example of sexism I have to deal with. You know, the fact that some people, I can't even like sit next to a child on a plane or on a bus, at least someone thinks I'm going to touch them sexually or something like that. Right? So there are some examples of sexism that men go through. Right? Or here's this, that whenever a woman says that she gets raped, everyone takes it seriously, and that man can end up going not. Remember, in the court system, you're innocent until proven guilty, but apparently not. Apparently not. Because if a woman makes a false rape allegation, that destroys his reputation. That's a pretty good example of sexism against men. And I've had that happen to me before. Never even had sex. Some woman lied and said I raped her. So those are your examples.
I think I can speak for a majority of women when I say I would happily trade in feeling super unsafe whenever it's not broad daylight or whenever there's not a bunch of people around, or having what I'm wearing policed by the fact that I might get raped for wearing it, or getting paid less for doing the exact same job, or even getting paid less for being more qualified. I'd trade all of that in for having to buy someone fucking dinner one time.
First off, it is not one time. It's actually the course of years proving to this woman that you are worthy of her affection and of her time. That's the first thing, okay? That's stupid. Second thing, you can have all those things if you just learn some martial arts and learn how to take care of yourself. You won't be afraid anymore that you might get raped, or you won't get killed, or you won't get mugged. As for getting paid for like less, I don't even think, and listen, I'm not gonna believe this wage gap exists until I see a woman and a man. It can be a cash register at McDonald's. Until I see a paycheck where a woman has worked the exact same amount of hours as a man, the exact same amount of time and the exact amount of effort, the exact, not on paid leave, not maternity, none of that, the exact amount, 40-hour week, 40-hour week, men and women, same exact job. When I see that, and I see that the woman, same amount of effort, makes less than a man, then I will believe the wage gap exists. But as long as it's calculated by women having different interests in different jobs, sorry, it doesn't exist. It's just that you pick lower paying jobs.
Because at least that way I wouldn't be at risk of being murdered just for being born with a vagina.
What about men too? You guys can't just say feminism is about equal rights for men and women and then completely ignore all the problems men have. That's not equality. That is female supremacy. But that's all I have in me for this video. If you guys want to watch her entire video, because there's some things I left out. If you want to watch the whole video, link in the description box. Guys, as always, if you like this video, please click the like button, click the subscribe button, comment in the comment box below, and as always, see you cool cats real soon.